Do you want to make money with your blog? Well, the first piece of advice then is to stop blogging. I guess I should probably explain. Hey there, David Risley here, founder of the Blog Marketing Academy. So I recently ran a survey to the list, and in fact, some of you guys may have participated in this survey, where I was asking people what their biggest challenges were. What is standing in your way with regard to your online business and your blog? And one of the big responses I was getting from people, I don't know if it was the largest one, but it had to do with content. The idea of writing content, not having enough time to write your content. I think I even had one guy, let me look here, who was talking about how he said he could use more writers. And I replied back to him and I was like, oh, so are you running a multi-author blog? And he said, no, I need more content. And it really got me thinking that I needed to talk about this. And it's something that I've talked about before, that blogging is not going to be the way that you make a lot of money. And this might seem a little ironic that I'm saying that. I mean, I've got the Blog Marketing Academy here, but that's just the honest truth. If you have goals to make money and ultimately build an online business, then your time is not best spent by blogging. And so if this is a goal that you have, please do not make your first actions to set up a blog and start writing a bunch of blog posts, because you will be doing that for years and it probably won't work out for you. It could, you might get lucky, but that's just the honest truth. You've got to stop blogging. That is tactic number one. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to start blogging, okay? But we got to put first things first. So you might ask, what should go first? What do you focus on? So let's talk about that for just a second. All right, your first thing that you got to do, your first project is going to be to figure out the actual business. Now, that seems like a big task, right? But let's focus on what a business actually does. A business delivers a product or service to people who want it, people who are demanding that product or service. Now, let's contrast that with how most bloggers do it, where they look at it in terms of what would I like to talk about today? Or what should my niche be? And most of us are referring to that as what is my topic going to be? That is the idea of talking about something. Now, out in the real world, unless you're in the media, do you make money by talking about things? Do business owners in your local city, do they make money simply by talking about things? No, they don't. They're going to make money by selling something to you. And now that we've stopped blogging, we now need to focus on what is it that you are going to sell. Okay, so there's 3 steps that you got to do here that's going to lead you eventually into actual blogging. And what they are first of all, you need to get a product or service that people actually want. Now that seems like a big task. However, I'm going to make this easier for you here in just a little bit. Okay, now the second thing you got to do is you got to prove the concept. A lot of bloggers don't do this. They don't put any work into proving the concept. They just kind of cross their fingers, hope it'll work out. They've already written a big old pile of blog posts about it, and then they find that it's really hard to monetize that thing, and that's because it wasn't a proven concept to begin with. Okay, so you got to prove the concept, and you do that with 2 basic things. First of all, you're going to have a lead magnet. If you're not familiar with that term, it just means something that you are going to give to people who would make a good prospect for your business, and they opt in for that, okay? So you're going to be building your list. So you're going to need that lead magnet, and we're going to prove it by putting it out there and watching the conversion rates, okay? And then the second thing that you're going to need to prove it is you're going to need an offer. Okay, now we'll be talking about that in a minute, because I imagine that many people watching this might not have a product right now, okay? And I want to definitely address that. So we've got a product and service that people, that they want it, where we've actually got our eyes firmly on this product or service that we're going to offer to the world. We're going to prove the concept, and only once that is a proven concept do we actually start blogging around it. We're going to start blogging around a working concept, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the niche here, because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people, when they're talking about a niche, they're talking about, what am I going to talk about? I mean, it's literally just your subject matter. But that's not the way to think about this, because like I said, talking is not going to be the business. Only selling is going to be the business. Now, so the way this is going to have to work is, instead of thinking about what you'd like to blog about, you need to be thinking about, what solutions can I deliver? What demands do I see out there? What pains do I see people having out there that I'm equipped to help them with? Okay. It doesn't mean that you got to get into the guru business, by the way. It just means that you can do something about their problem. You might find your basis for that, quite frankly, in what you do for a living if you've got a day job. It doesn't have to be sexy. It's just, you have to be able to do something about it. And that's what it is. You could also partner with somebody, by the way, who can do something about it. But instead of looking at it as a niche and a topic, I want you to look at it as a market, and ultimately a word that I use a lot, and that's called the transformation. What is the transformation that you want to enable in other people? And that transformation is where they're in some present time reality, and you want to help them get to some new reality. If you think about the Blog Marketing Academy itself, I help people who have a blog that's barely making any money, or just starting out and kind of dreaming about it. And the transformation is, on the other end, they've got a profitable online business that is actually working and generating money. That's a transformation. And there's a lot of things that go in the middle of that. And your transformation will be different. But you need to figure out what it is, because that's what you're enabling. It's an action that our niche is, an action that we're enabling for other people, like a verb. It's not something that we're talking about. It's not a noun. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now, when it comes to having a product for sale, I know a lot of people out there don't have one. And so that's what leads a lot of bloggers to banner advertising or affiliate links and stuff like that. I am a big proponent of having your own thing. Okay. Now, I am not telling you to go make a product first. Absolutely don't do that, okay? What you want to do is you want to prove the concept by way of a pre-offer, a pre-sale. It's actually really easy, okay? You're putting an offer out there that you haven't done anything about other than present the offer. And you see if they buy it, okay? That's really simple. Now, also keep in mind, it does not have to be an information product. It can be. I know you see a lot of people like me creating courses, and it's great. But don't put yourself into that box and think that's the only way to go. It can certainly be a service. In fact, a lot of business takes place where you're performing a service. Don't get into these traps of passive income and think that you got to jump right into that. Sometimes you got to serve your time a little bit first and work your way up to it. So, can you offer a service to this market? Consulting in this market? Just come up with something out of thin air. That's really what it is. Come up with something out of thin air, and not only that, you present it without a whole lot of prep work. You're just seeing if they want to take it, and you're open about it. Okay, if you're pre-selling a course, you tell them up front that it's not done. Okay. In fact, what I usually like to do with a pre-sale is I present it as a live class, something that they're going to get to participate in on the fly with me as I am making it. But of course, from your perspective, if nobody buys it, you don't do it. And you can also tweak that thing until people start buying it. This goes back to that concept of actually proving the business model before you start blogging, okay? This is how you prove it, okay? Now, the next problem you're going to have if you want to prove anything is traffic. Where's the traffic going to come from if you're not blogging? Well, open yourself up to the idea of running paid traffic, okay? That is absolutely my favorite way to do it. It doesn't cost that much money, and in fact, it's going to drastically speed things up. Okay, big time, because we're not worrying about the blog here. Whoops. We are actually worried just about two things: a lead magnet, which is going to be on a landing page, and a pre-offer. That's it. Two things, okay? All we got to do is start running people through those things, and we see what the numbers look like. We make some changes. Eventually, we're going to get those two things to where the numbers are like, that's not bad. And guess what? You now have a proven concept. You've made your first sale. And now you start blogging about it because now you've got a proven idea. You know you're not going to be wasting your time versus what most bloggers are out there doing, just blogging about stuff endlessly, quite frankly, hopelessly, and whether they get anywhere, I don't really know. Now, if, for example, you're like, oh, paid traffic, I don't want to spend any money on this, I would recommend you change your mind. But even if you want to stick with free only, at least then you're dealing with a very specific thing. Landing page, another landing page for your product. And you're very specific about any free traffic you're going to get and what they're going to see. And so it's going to take you longer, but at least you're focused at that point and you're not spreading them all around with all these blog posts and giving yourself this artificial demand. Like, oh my God, I got to write a blog post this week. No, you don't. Let's just prove the concept first. Then we'll worry about the content part of it, okay? So that is what I definitely recommend that you do versus blogging at the beginning. You got to prove the concept. You want to get the lead magnet done, which is short. Most lead magnets that work really well are like a one-page deal. And we've got training inside the lab that goes all through how to create really effective lead magnets, okay? The next thing you're going to do after the lead magnet is you're going to get them to a landing page for some type of an offer. And it's an offer that you have not created yet. Well, you've created the offer, but you haven't created the product, okay? I don't want you to go and create some big course. Don't do it, okay? Just put something out there as a pre-sale and sell something, even if it's your own time, okay? Once we get that two-stage funnel working, then you're like, let's start blogging about this. And then you grow from there. If it was a service or a consulting or time-based thing that you were selling, guess what? Now that you know that people are buying, you'll be able to start leveraging that into your product. And it will this whole thing will be so much shorter because you weren't blogging your face off and talking to empty air. And that's what most bloggers are doing at the beginning. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Below this video, I would recommend you do two things. First of all, you're going to see one of my lead magnets called the Niche Profits Finder. If you're still confused about your niche or you're in a niche that you went into just from the perspective of this is what I'd like to talk about, I recommend that you get that Niche Profits Finder. It's totally free, and it will help you shift your mindset a little bit on niche, and it's going to run you through some exercises that you can actually start to verify whether a niche concept that you have in mind might actually work for you, okay? And then the second thing you might want to check out is the Business Building Bootcamp. Now, it's one of the courses that we have inside the lab. Ultimately, I'd like to get you inside the lab if you're not a lab member, because that's where we have training that covers all this stuff. But the Business Building Bootcamp is a step-by-step workshop where I walk you through exactly what we've just talked about on this video. And so I know we kind of glossed over some stuff, but we cover it in a lot more detail inside the Business Building Bootcamp, okay? And so that's what I recommend that you do. But I want to end off by just reminding you that if you have dreams of making a certain amount of money online so that you can leave your job, provide a little extra money for your kids' college, whatever it might be, whatever your reasons are. And if you're looking at blogging as your meal ticket for that, I need you to shift your expectations. Blogging is a great form of online marketing. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that foundation underneath it, the blog is a waste of your time. And that's the honest truth. So what we've been talking about here is getting that foundation in place, proving it, and then we start blogging. And that is what we do around here at the Blog Marketing Academy. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.